Hi, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening. Hi, good evening. So while we wait for the facilitator to be able to connect and share his slide, I'd love us to discuss on our last topic, air condition maintenance. So who would love to go first on the take home?
Well, in the last lesson, I don't know if my mic is muted or something.
No, we can hear you, ma.
Oh, you can hear me? Okay, that's good.
Yes,
Well, I learned about the primary components of an air conditioning system. So interesting. And some of which are compressor, gas, condenser, oil, expansion valve, evaporator, thermostat, capacitor, and all the rest. So that's making me to understand the functioning of an air conditioning system. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much, ma, for that. Please, anyone else? Okay, I'll have Mrs. Edith.
Good evening,
Mrs. Edith,
everyone.
please.
Yes,
Good
good evening,
evening.
everyone. Sorry, I wasn't fully participating in the other class. So I would not be able to
Okay, for the short period of time that you could participate, what did you grab from it?
Seriously, I didn't really concentrate because I was also still at work and working. I didn't really participate much. I'll just listen to what others have to say.
Okay. It's Mrs. Philomena.
Okay, good evening, everybody.
Good evening, ma'am.
I actually joined late, but I learned so much the short time. I learned that most of the easy go bad parts in an air conditioner most times are the capacitor, and that it's not part that you can buy some item and keep, so that because it's not easily gotten off, it's not an off the shelf part, so you can have more than one stock. I equally learned that instead of going for an aluminum power ICs, you could prepare. Hello, I don't know that anybody can still hear me.
We can hear you, ma'am.
Because I'm seeing an interference, so that's why.
Let me reshare now. Give me host disable participant screen sharing. Can you, Miracle, can you activate my screen sharing, please?
You can share, sir.
Okay. Please let them, if you can see my screen, just let me know, please.
Yes, we can see your
Yeah, we can see your screen.
Okay, sorry for that little error. I had to switch my laptop. Sorry. Presently today, we are taking facility maintenance strategy. I'm engineer Odibo Edesire Jirogane, a facility manager. I've been in the business for close to 10 years now. I've also worked as an HVAC engineer in different companies, Daikin, Mandelas in Korea. Then I've also worked in Mitsubishi too. So we'll be telling you from experience what you guys need to know to make your building one of the best within your region. So the title facility profile will be shown, housekeeping ground rules, then outline, then models. That is me. 10 years facility management, trained HVAC. I've been trained locally and internationally, graduate from Ambrosali University. I studied mechanical engineering. I had my master's in facility management in Unilag, 35 for proficiency in facility credentials, experience gain in Mandalas, Michael Lamon, MECon Global PFI, and where I presently work. in Lagos as a senior FM. So our ground rule, participant brief introduction, that must have been done. And I believe I've seen most of you in our AC class. So safety as top requirement, learners to consider their training areas and eliminate any possible interruption. All mobile gadgets to be maintained. Once the training starts, I will employ all of us to put our phone on mute. So if you have some personal things you need to deal with, emergencies, you can address that while your phone is muted. Then if you have any question, there are two ways. It's either you raise your hand at the end of the class or you drop your message on the chat. So we'll attend to it on that. So there won't be break because we've taken much time here. So our course objective, availability, safety and preservation of our system, reduce equipment downtime, ensure reliability of the equipment, reduce maintenance time, reduce maintenance costs, ensure optimal performance of equipment, reduce capital repairs on equipment, prolong equipment lifetime, reduce or plan
Maybe doing
downtime,
other section. Maybe you can share this thing and I will edit it.
yes. Hello, Miracle, you're supposed to be muted. Hello? Are you talking to me? Hello, Miracle.
No, sir.
So do we have any person there? Can I go ahead? I thought you were talking to me.
No, I wasn't.
Okay. Please, let me go ahead. So, first of all, let me just give you a more why we are doing this. We've heard about maintenance, we've heard about reactive maintenance, we have all classes of maintenance. In as much as you are equipped with different maintenance method, there are strategies that you need to put in place. What maintenance method or strategy works for my building? Sometimes you might combine one or two maintenance process together to ensure that your building is running efficiently. You know, there was, I think there was this sport event we have recently in Ogun State where people are running, I don't know if it's marathon and the rest. And towards the evening, the generator failed or PACN went off. So as an FM, that is not supposed to happen. When you are having an event that is going to run 24 hours, there are supposed to be backup power supply, and this changeover needs to happen within a fraction of 2-3 seconds. So all those things needs to be available. You understand? So the essence of strategy is to look for method that works for your building and look for that type that will make you more productive, more efficient. You know, there are sometimes you run in a building, you burn yourself out. If you are burning yourself out as an FM, you are not practicing an FM because you have not put a strategy in place. When you have people working under you, your technician, your admin, the janitors, and the cleaner, let them understand their role because all of them make direct impact on your health. So all the strategy you put in place is what gives you peace of mind. So for a start, we are going to do the introduction of the strategy. Then we talk about run to failure, which is the reactive that most of us are classified by birth, but somehow our FM is giving us that consciousness to do our maintenance. Then the third model, we talk about preventive maintenance. Preventive is that before it's shut down, you already know what can happen. So you have put control measures in place to further. Then predictive maintenance are some patterns that your maintenance data follows to show whether they are off or on track of maintenance procedure. Then we talk about reliability-centered maintenance. That one will give you a more robust method that can be used, not just in a building. When you go to places like Chevron, you go to places like Mobile, and they are running a oil company that is about 10 to 20 size the pitch of National Stadium. What do you do as an FM? How do you keep up to your maintenance plan? Maintenance go beyond maintaining just a building. We are training you to be more equipped for the world. We are training you to get full understanding of what you need to do at all time. It's not a rocket science, but if you put all the strategy in place, you'll be surprised that the maintenance work in your building will definitely improve. So introduction, what is maintenance strategy? So this, we are going to talk about understanding the maintenance strategy. We talk about the method. What are the goals? What are the advantages? And what are the disadvantages? Evaluating all the maintenance strategies option, select the right strategy that suits your building. You know, for those that are in my class in the AC, I've told you last that if 3 month maintenance plan work for a particular building, do not adopt that in your building. Because one, you need to consider the environment if it is dusty or clean. If you work in a dusty environment and you are adopting AC installed in a clean environment, definitely your failure, the chances of your failure and risks of run to failure on your site will definitely increase. You need to look at all these factors before you now know, my own maintenance is going to be every month, it's going to be quarterly, and it's going to be maybe every six months. So those strategies is what we are going to put to you. Then the decision prior to the equipment installation. Also take note, it is important that there is a good understanding of how equipment fail. Most of us as an FM, we don't know how most of our equipment work on site. Be it our lift, our generator, our AC, talk of our transformer, you need to have basic understanding of how they work. Once you have that basic understanding, then when one part fails, you can trace from your basic knowledge that this could be the possibility of what happens. You know, when you drive your car and you see something flashing on your car continuously, telling you heat, your mind tell you water has gone down in my radiator or there's a blockage somewhere. You got the knowledge, because if you don't have the knowledge, what happens to your car? It can actually be on fire. And you lose that asset because of one, you don't have the knowledge of what your car is telling you. So for the equipment as an FM, beyond this class, you have an understanding of how all your equipment work, because this strategy can be adopted in all assets within your building, be it electrical, cables, your gates. Even to your gate needs to be maintained. You might ask your security gate, does your security gate need maintenance? Yes, it needs maintenance. You know, they have oil you need to put at the hinges, even your door at home. If they are not wear oil, sooner or later you start hearing some noise. You see some of the nuts will start losing, some of them are waking, and the worst of all is door closer. You see some door closer, the way they lock the door is supposed to be quiet, but you see some making a bang sound, a large sound on your door. You understand? All those things are to be put in your maintenance. You can be having a board meeting, very strategic meeting, then one of your staff opened the door. The next thing everybody heard was a large sound. I pray that will not lead to fire alarm, that people will start running scatter within your building. So our maintenance plan, we keep that in check. So criteria for choosing a maintenance plan. So you need allocation of available resources. Resources could be in terms of human and in terms of finance. Sometimes when you want to adopt a maintenance, like I explained also in my last class, you need to consider whether you are using an in-house. You also need to consider whether you are sourcing the maintenance plan or you are using the combination of both. There's no facility company I've seen in Nigeria that does all FM 100% with all their staff. You might have more of your staff handling some things you have strength, and you have some other that are on OME or O and M, operation and operational manual, operational maintenance. There are some things you cannot handle, like generator. You bought a new generator from Kumis. Only Kumi sell the part. Only Kumi can fix. Only Kumi can do this. Then you talk about cats. Only Kumi can do that. You can't say you want to employ one electrical engineer that just graduated to handle that asset. You will run that equipment to failure and your asset will go down the drain. So what you do in that part as a strategy is to outsource those critical equipment. Critical equipment like generator, critical equipment like your lift, critical equipment if you have a conveyor, escalator on your side. So all those things can be outsourced. Then things that you can manage within your site, probably your air conditioning system on smaller units like your split unit, your standing unit. Then when you talk about chiller system, you might want to adopt using outsourced process. So these are strategy when it comes to available resources. Sometimes when you outsource, it is more expensive. Then when you bring an in-house, the equipment definitely will fail one day, and that staff might not be able to bring it up. And that could make your company lose that contract. So those resources you need to weigh both sides. What do you want as an FM? If you are in charge of your side, you are the decision maker, what do you use? Do you outsource or do you use an in-house? And if you decide to use an in-house, how do you employ the best talent to occupy that position? Are you going to do the employment yourself, or you are sourced a recruiting agent, or you are going to use your office HR? If that is decided, then that is when you are using in-house. Then you could also make a decision. How am I going to be buying any part that have issues? Am I going to do that myself, or I use my procurement department? First of all, you need to consider if you have procurement department. What procedure do we have on ground for procurement department? For my place where I work, we use PO to push most of our resources. You understand? So what you also need to do is also organizational maintenance process. Selection of technology required, adoption of already existing technology. Then technology cost must be considered, because if you are to deploy, you are using in-house, you need to buy equipment, you need to buy tools. Then some will come with high technology that you need to train them on how to handle equipment. Equipment such as indoor air quality test, they need to know how to handle it. Things used to measure electricity, your micrometer, you need to know how to handle it. And now, not just to use it, you must know how to store it and how to keep them. Then you talk about a type of equipment to be used. You know, when you want to buy some equipment, you hear, should we buy from China? China is cheaper, or should we buy from Europe? If you are going straight to US, you know it's going to be expensive, but you get your best quality. Am I going to buy from China? There are some quality things also produced by China. How do I know what is quality? Through going online to search this particular equipment. When you are buying it, you see people put comment on there. This equipment did not last. This equipment is of low standard, or some people will give them 1 or 2 stars. But if an equipment is getting 4 to 5 stars, and you have seen about 10 people commenting that this is okay, then your decision to choose that equipment becomes justified. Then you talk about personal skills. I've talked about it when I'm mentioning allocation of resources. Then personnel training. I have also been in an FM where the technician have never been trained. And that is a very, very poor work. You have never trained your technician. How do you get the best out of them? Even if it is an in-house training, try to organize something. You can invite somebody in. Please come and take all my technician on how to maintain AC. They come to your site, they see the AC. Oh, okay, when I'm doing this is what the man will tell them right there. That knowledge you pass to them will save you a lot of cost in the long run. Then quality of service. What kind of service do you want? Sometimes on our SLA, the client will specify the quality of service needed. The quality of service needed will tell you whether you are sourcing or you are using an in-house. Then the kind of customer you are attending to. If you are attending to a local company, people do not put too much attention on local company because cost has always been a problem. Then if you are your customers are multinationals, you know they are ready to pay. Then you must give them the quality service, because they measure your performance through your KPIs, through your SLA, to see whether you are keeping to it. What I've just mentioned to you are just strategy that you must adopt. You must consider all these key things before you now decide whether I'm towing the line of using an employee staff, or towing the line of using our source, or towing the line of combining both resources. Common challenges of maintenance strategies. What are the common challenges you have? Lack of understanding of maintenance strategy element. All those elements we just mentioned, If I have not explained one or two things there, most of us do not know what those things actually represent. And I can beat my chest that some of us in the house, you have some of your technicians not trained. You bring somebody on board, you have not taught them how to use a multimeter. That could be a training for your team. Some of them might actually know how to use it, but not in the right format. You now need to teach them how to use it. Do you know, by switching your multimeter to the wrong voltage and measuring for a high voltage can actually destroy that multimeter? Because your staffs are not trained, they keep destroying your equipment that you bought with your hard-earned money. You understand? So as little as that, you need to put them through. Your water treatment system, they need to know how it works. So that if there are issues, they can easily come back to you and say, sir, as you explained to us that time, we noticed water was coming out from this pump, we don't know what is leading to it. They will be your eye opener. If an AC is dripping water, sometimes as an FM, you might not be able to cover 100% of your sites. Then because you have trained your guys, you tell them once they notice this, they notice that, they should inform you immediately. They become a tool in your hand to deliver quality service. So lack of understanding of maintenance strategy could be an element for you. Some top management challenges challenging the maintenance strategy. Sometimes you put all your business case, you put all your strategy together, then your top management will say, this is rubbish. You want us to spend over 5 million to buy an equipment. How much are we making in it? That is what the top management do. But what I will advise you to do, you must learn to go with a business case. As an FM, you must learn how to write a business case, because for you to make them to adopt that strategy, you must give them clear cut of what you want to do, then do some financial record of how that money will be recovered back, maybe in 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, or 5 years. That is what the management need to hear before they approve your strategy. Sometimes low budget could be a problem. You have all the best idea, management has agreed, all your teams has agreed, but the problem, there's no fund. How do you use? Sometimes you need to assess some maintenance element or asset in your building, but because there's no fund, you have no choice than to go to the cheaper option of employing somebody to maintain those equipment. It might not be the best decision, but I can assure you in the long run, there might be some kind of failure. Inadequate maintenance resources. Your plans are okay. The manpower is not there. That could also be a problem. You don't have storage for most of the equipment you are bringing on site. And what could happen if you have a very massive site? Some of your tools will start getting missed on site. You will not see your spanner, your tools will not be complete, your hammer is missing today, tomorrow it could be your screwdriver. Before you know, within 6 months, all your tools are no longer on site. So if you must put maintenance strategy in place, you must have where you store them, and you must have people that take stock of those equipment. Then you talk about ineffectiveness of maintenance activities. When you are on site, you put all the strategies together. Because there's no cohesion between you and your team, those strategies are not fully implemented. Strategy of outsourcing is there, of an in-house. Sometimes you see your staff that is supposed to take care of basic things. They will tell you, now vendor go handle am, oga, not be my work. So all those ones make you inefficient. Then the customer that you are serving could be at the receiving end, and he will be the one to do your appraiser, and it could score you lower. So in as much as you put your strategy together, you must test how efficient it is. Put your guys on timing. If they go to maintain AC, how long does it take them to maintain an AC? Some of them can actually be discussing why they are supposed to carry out their work, because your customer is actually measuring your performance. Truth be told. Then alignment of maintenance strategy. Sometimes some maintenance strategy have conflicts with each other. You can't have the same strategy you have for site A that you are running. If you are a regional FM, area FM, you might have another strategy in one side different from another side. So you can adopt that strategy with that side. And on your side too, you must make sure all your strategy are fully aligned. Your alignment could be from your customer, to yourself, could be from your staff to yourself, or your source company to yourself. They are supposed to come to site when there are issues within 6 hours. You tell them they have issues with your generator. After 10 hours, they are not on site. 24 hours, they are not on site. That strategy is off record. You need to check or replace that vendor. Then inadequate maintenance planning. If you did not maintain, maybe your AC, there are supposed to be period where filters are supposed to be replaced. But because your maintenance strategy did not cover this particular aspect, you left it, and that started causing what they call sick building syndrome within the building, or also impacting the maintenance cost for your AC. So all these common issues are things you need to move off if you are ready to ensure that your site runs smoothly, that NEPA does not take light like we have experienced in Ogun State. You ensure that your stadium run effectively, your site run effectively, your region run effectively. Maintenance goes hand in hand with an organization objective. First of all, you must determine the strategy your organization is looking out for. What is their objective? What is their aim? And so there must be a clear understanding of the maintenance strategy. And this maintenance strategy objective must be clearly explained to all your team members, including your cleaner. Your cleaner can actually cause you problem in your server room. They can actually cause you problem in your electrical room. They are sweeping water. They are supposed to take the water out of the building. But because he want to do a sharp work, because it's time to go home, he started sweeping the water where all electrical cables are installed. And that could lead to what? A breach in cable, and there could be an explosion on your side. Because you did not tell them, no water should go here. And some of your maintenance strategy must go in conjunction with signage. There are areas some personnel must not enter. There are areas they must not go to. And if they are doing some very serious work like hot work, welding work, and the rest, you must use signage to communicate to passerby. Use that sign to tell them what you are doing within your site. Then the second on the model is run to failure. I have said most of us in Nigeria are born with this attitude. We don't repair things until they fail us. Even our car, as basic as it is. The tires will be giving us sign, making some funny sign. You say, oh, don't worry, we can still manage it. At least this thing will take me fast small. And if the car, some of the car, sometimes they can embarrass you on the road. Some of them can decide to break down where you have all these area boys on Lagos Island. What you have refused to pay fixing your car, you will pay it to them, and you still come back to fix the car. Your car is to keep you safe and to ensure that there's smooth operation within your site. The same thing can be adopted to your generator. Generator does not need run to failure. And don't forget, every site have element of reactive maintenance. So how do you cope reactive maintenance as an FM? You now need to sit down with your technician, sit with your vendor, and look at single components in your building that can fail. When you have identified them, make sure you buy about 5 or 10 pieces of that equipment and keep them in your store. That is a strategy that have worked for some people. Just imagine you are an FM in offshore company, Chevron, Shell. You are deep in the sea. You only come to land once in a month, and you run. You did not plan for stock. You did not plan for, and your generator run down. And they need that to pump oil. They need that to on light for your guys to work. What happened? The ACs are not working. You cannot pump. Things are failing. How long will it take you to get to land, to get to maybe Warri, Delta, Bayelsa, or the nearby states to purchase whatever you need? That could actually take you up to a week. If you have a chopper, that could cost your company a lot of money going straight and bringing that one component. That's why you as an FM, you must look for all these critical equipment, list them down, and do what? Make sure you buy, purchase. And when you are purchasing, you must have a reordering level. So we'll speak more deeply about this as we progress. So what are the things needed? Action to be taken to repair equipment after failure. That is, when you discover on your site, if the thing does not get bad, you do not fix it. Just know you are classified under this group. Restoring equipment intended function when it failed. You only replace parts when the equipment failed, not that when it's showing sign to fail. When it failed, that is when you replace. Then you belong to this group. And I believe most of us will be smiling now because some of us are actually in this group. It can be cost effective for small equipment. You understand? Reactive maintenance. When I say small equipment, there are things you can easily buy in the market. You already have them on site. You can replace. Oh yeah, go to so place. Under 1 hour, the things is on site. But when you talk about bigger equipment, then there's bound to be a failure on site, and there's bound to be a shutdown. You might be privileged to be an FM in a factory that runs 24 hours. They produce. If your maintenance plan or your strategy does not work there, then it becomes a problem for you. And don't forget, Nigeria does not produce any equipment. We depend on Europe, and we depend on the Americans, we depend on China and every other country to produce for us. So you need to plan ahead. Very costly for complex and critical equipment. So when you have mentioned this, when you are talking about generators that are working about 2,000 kVA, you cannot afford to go to the market and say you want to buy the part for that particular equipment. You must source for it abroad. So reactive maintenance has the philosophy of repair equipment when it's breakdown. That is the general philosophy. If it doesn't break down, then don't fix it. So that is the attitude for that. So in order to curb this elements of reactive maintenance, in order to curb it, respond to fault call, identify the cause of the system. When it finally occurs on your site, you must what? First of all, identify. How do you do that? If you have measuring equipment on site, your technician can actually do a report of what happened. Your generator actually can shut down while in operation. You might want to check what have happened. Sometimes it could be as a result of poor quality of diesel. Some of us, if you check our underground tank, our diesel tank, either surface or underground, we've not cleaned that diesel for more than 1 year. So in the process of the generator taking up diesel into itself, it has sucked up water or it sucked up dirt. So that dirt could actually affect the functionality of the generator. So if your guy does not know how to troubleshoot, it could take you a whole day to know what has happened to your generator. And your vendor can actually rip you off. So care must be taken to ensure everything that assists the functionality of a particular equipment on site are well taken up. You might be taking good care of your generator. Don't forget, your diesel, quality of diesel supply can affect your generator. Your lack of maintenance of your diesel tank could also affect. There are times you need to remove dirt from your diesel. There are equipment that you can use to remove diesel and remove all the dirt. There are companies that does that. If you don't have that, there are companies that wait till when the diesel gets to the low part, they pump the other one out. And don't forget, when you are pumping out those dirty things from the diesel, you must not pour them to gutter because you go against Lagos State compliance and process. Once they identify your site to be polluting the environment, they will seal up your building. Please take note of those. Then identify the root cause, localize and isolate the problem. Disassemble the system. You don't repair an equipment that is running or functioning. You must first of all put off the power supply, remove the cable. Then when the equipment has cooled down, you can actually do all the necessary troubleshooting you can do. There are some repairs that can be done by your team on site, and there are some that is beyond their work on site. Then I've also mentioned in class too, do not mix maintenance with repairs. Some maintenance work can be handled by in-house, some maintenance, while major repairs can actually be done a little number of your staff can handle it, but majority of the time, it is our source company that actually handle it when it's time to do about replacement of part or bringing quality things for replacement. Then you remove the failed part or components. Your technician can do that through their screwdriver, pliers, spanner, or whatever tools that is available to loosen your nut, your bolt, or anything. Then repair or replace. Repair, there's difference between repair and replace. You're only replacing an equipment when you know there is no function, no value can be derived for particular parts. So you replace. But when you still have that sense, or through your observation and inspection, you know that a particular equipment can be reused, then you repair it or you maintain it. A good example in our ACs are our filters. AC filters are washed and returned. You understand? Then reassemble the system when you have troubleshoot and you have identified what the problem is. Then you put all these things together. Then you are reassemble the equipment. Then you also verify the condition of the system. There are some things that they do on site, like measuring the sound quality coming out from the equipment. This happen in bigger places like Chevron, Shell, and the rest. They have equipment to test, because if equipment is working efficiently, there's a particular sound it gives. Just like you starting your car engine. When you start your car engine, there's this noiseless sound that it produces. It's working, but it's not making noise. But a good, what can I use to make a good example? Our Loma truck. When they are coming, you don't need to be told. Either the smell tells you they are available, or the sound of the truck, because the engine are working with so much power. You understand? They are not well maintained. So once those things are giving you sign, you know that this equipment, despite you have replaced an equipment, the sound level is going beyond. It gives you an idea that you need to do something. We'll still talk about this. Then you create a record. In every site, you must have record of all your assets. Open a box file if you have the access. Some of us that don't have access of using the old-fashioned method of keeping record, you can actually store most of these things on the cloud. If your company has one cloud, and if they don't have, you can actually utilize, if it is Gmail you are using, you can use what do they call it? Google Drive. There are a lot of cloud facility that is provided you can adopt presently to store information online. The essence of the storing information online is that you can retrieve those information anytime, anywhere. But your box file and the paper file, once you install them on site and you have issues of fire, you might lose those information. So it could be part of your plan to start moving most of your documents online. Tell your vendor that all their invoice, all their listings should be online. So once they finish their job, you can always do all those things and make sure you store them online. When reactive maintenance should be used, complex maintenance procedure, costly for PPM or other strategies, easy to replace components. If an equipment can easily be bought in the market, just bought from a maker just close by, then you can adopt reactive. Don't forget, in as much as I would say reactive is not too good for an FM or a site, you cannot 100% eliminate reactive. It does occur on site. So in order to reduce the effect or impact on your business, ensure you have replaceable parts available, and your vendor, you under your agreement with them, you give them time to respond to any breakdown on site. Like generator on site are always two. If you have generator, like power is the most critical thing on site, because your power run all other assets. So for that, you need to have about two on site. If one breaks down, the other one can keep you going. Then don't forget, you must also have a good relationship with the PACN company within your location. Very important. Then we talk of equipment failure has minimal impact. If the failure you observe is not going to put your assets or your building at risk, then you can choose to do this. Then budget also can narrow our mind to using reactive. Then the decision of your management or your client can also push you to adopt this method. Then don't forget, reactive maintenance is actually present in all maintenance strategy. As failure is not perfectly predicted, you can't predict. There are some new cars, they break down. And there are some new equipment you just bought today. After 1 or 2 days, they break down. That's why you see company, in order to protect you, they place some equipment on warranty. You can replace them. Also, the equipment still break down even after maintenance action has been performed. So I have given you strategy for this reactive. What is the strategy? Have replaceable parts. Have a vendor just close by. And on the agreement, or please, you must respond when I call you within 6 hours, 3 hours, or swiftly when there are issues on my site. Please, if you have any question, you keep it to the end of the class, or you can drop them in our chat box. What are the advantages of this? The advantages are what? It requires minimum staff, and they are very cheap. Because when you are sourced to some companies sometimes, what you buy in the market for about maybe 10,000 naira, the company might tell you it's 50,000 naira. And you don't have any option of replacing it. You have to depend on them. So those are the disadvantages. But for reactive, you have option of using your guy to go to the market yourself and buy. But sometimes some bigger company might not want to use their staff because of they will definitely put 1 or 2 gain. And if the equipment does not work, who bears the risk? That's why we run most of these procurement things through our procurement process or run it to a registered vendor within your company. Then little demands of maintenance. If there are no much maintenance in a particular equipment, you can definitely use it. So don't forget that you must find what works for your site and adopt them. Disadvantages: increase in labor cost. If the person you brought does not understand what reactive is all about, or you employ people because the guy is the cheaper option, because I've seen technician being paid 50,000, some 80,000. The guy does not know the work. You just brought him offside. It will cause you more harm than you can imagine. Increasing in repairs. The person just finished repairing an equipment, you are back there the next day. A day after you are there, throughout the week, you are just on one equipment. That reduces the efficiency of that staff. Then it brings out bad negative report about your company or your credibility as an FM on that side. So if you must maintain it on the side, you must get quality things to be done. Then staff resources not effectively used. Sometimes you have staff on site. They know what they need to do. You're always calling vendor, which is costing you more. Sometimes you might want to bring an experienced person to come and train them, and you get them to that level you want them to be. That could also bring them to that level. Some of them learn very fast, but because you have not trained them, they just remain, they sleep, they do a lot of things that cause more trouble for you on site. So use your resources effectively. There are some sites presently as I speak, because there's more pressure on FM company now. I'm speaking from experience. What is happening presently now? People are looking to downsize. Even some FM companies are shutting down because clients are complaining about high cost of operation. So in terms of high cost of operation, sometimes you will be forced as an FM to let some of your staff go. And in letting them go, you will decide the best stand among your staff, because your success actually lies on that person. Once you make that mistake, know that your failure is close by. Equipment not reliable. If the equipment is not reliable, it could also be things. Why we say equipments are not reliable? Equipment have been working for over 20 years. You refuse to replace. Kasali have been repairing, replacing. The guy is even tired. About 2 or 3 technicians have resigned because of this equipment. You refuse to buy another one. You are just managed. So don't worry, there's no money and the economy will improve, we will buy. But presently, this thing is too expensive. Let's manage what we have. And this equipment is costing you a lot of money. Frequent equipment downtime. Because the equipment are not okay, or you have whack staff on site, experience that frequency of breakdown. Difficulty in controlling the budget, because when your cost for replacement or repairs is shooting beyond the cost of the equipment, then there's a problem on that side. Then reduce life expectancy of the equipment, because if equipment keeps shutting down, you are reducing its lifespan. Initial capital cost investment not maximized. Inefficient use of resources, then interference with work plan. Sometimes when you make your plan, the day your in-house, the day you were supposed to maintain your water treatment system, your handyman, is the day they are supposed to maintain what? Your AC. So if you have only one technician doing all this, you already have a problem. There at the recruitment stage, you can actually separate most of these activities and outsource directly or give it directly to the staff that might use it. Hello, I hope I'm communicating. Hello, somebody just say hi.
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 Okay.
Hi.
Thank you very much. I need to test my mic. Thanks. Okay, the next one on the agenda is preventive maintenance. This strategy, what he uses, he noticed that if equipment work continuously, let's say you are running your AC 24 hours, 7 days in a week, 1 month, 3 months, you've not shut it down one day, definitely the equipment will be faulty. So what this man adopts is that periodically you stop work, maintain the equipment. That is what preventive maintenance does. So maintenance performed as scheduled interval. When I say scheduled interval, it could be monthly, it could be quarterly. When I say quarterly, quarterly is 1/4 times 12. We give you 3 months. And it could be biannual, 1/2 times 12. We give you 6 months. And there are some that are what? Annual, like a transformer. Transformer is maintained. I can believe you. Some of us have transformer within our site. We don't know that transformer are subject to maintenance. They are subject to maintenance. Maintenance performed irrespective of failure. Sometimes the equipment is working fine, there are no issues. But because it is planned to be done at interval, you will have to stop that equipment and do your maintenance plan. The other issue about this is that you might have an AC. This is a question that somebody put to me in the class. So you might want to ask it. If you are running an estate and there's AC working in that place, and the person have not used the AC for 1 year, is it subject for maintenance quarterly? Are you subject to maintaining the equipment even when you know it has not been used? So since you are not in a physical class, the answer is yes. Because if you don't maintain, there are some moving parts in the equipment that will have been damaged. You know, when you, a good example is your car. When you park your car for such a long time, the day you finally say, let me start your car, you notice it will start having some faults. If you are doing your periodic maintenance, you can actually use your car at any time. So don't say because this person have traveled for this long, you will not maintain. And if he goes with his key, immediately he arrives, you must go and service the AC before they put the AC on. So most equipment have been replaced because of that little thing I just said. Then measure taken to ensure equipment function. Adopt a time-based or run rate approach. Then based on replacing equipment after long use. Under preventive maintenance, there are some equipment, their lifespan is 10 years. Because you have adequate record, you can actually keep the trends of your maintenance, the cost you have spent on maintaining. Once you hit that 10 years, you make plan for replacement. A good example, sorry, I'm using oil company because these are what I've seen in play. You talk about Shell, Chevron, Mobil, and the rest. They will tell you the lifespan of any vehicle given to staff is 4 years. After that 4 years, they sell it off. A good example too could be your mobile phone. You, as an FM, you could be in charge of mobile phone. You could be in charge of walkie-talkie for your security. There are lifespan for all this equipment. So your duty as an FM is to have record from your manual or from the supplier when what is the lifespan of this equipment, then you start taking record. Preventive maintenance seek to reduce unplanned downtime. That is the process. When you adopt preventive maintenance, you try to limit the breakdown, emergencies on your site, and repair costs. There's always reduction in repair costs, but it may not always detect failure before it occurs. Sometimes, some equipment, after you have adopted plan preventive maintenance strategy, some equipment can actually break down. Not because you did not maintain. Sometimes it could be as a result of high voltage. Sometimes it could be a result of rodent on your site. Sometimes it could be as a result of some theft on your side. It could be as a result of some impact, either heavy rainfall, heavy wind, or thunder. A lot of things could lead to something having issues on site. You understand? So it's not a best approach for maintenance strategy, but it's better than reactive. Please take notes. So before it goes, since the approach is not condition monitoring, you are not monitoring it, you just have interval. Once it's 3 months, you just call your team, go and maintain. You are not monitoring if a particular part is failing or is doing something wrong. It focuses on performance, pre-scheduled maintenance. Don't forget that. Element of preventive maintenance. So if you are doing all these things, know that you are in this category as facility manager. What are the categories? Component reliability. You must understand fully well the component reliability. How strong are your equipment? Then manufacturer specification. Sometimes you see an engineer or your team saying, Oga, this AC when you buy, we not like ammo. If you go buy next time, buy AC from Daikin, buy Carrier, and buy Panasonic. Panasonic strong. Because of that specification, you are justifying the quality of service you are going to get. Because if you fail to buy the right equipment on site, then be ready for a lot of maintenance practice, lot of repairs, and lot of downtime. Don't buy equipment because they are cheap, and don't buy it because they are expensive. As an FM, you must marry quality with cost. That is the most efficient strategy to buy. And how do you checkmate if you want to buy? You use your procurement process, or you can use up to 3 vendors to ask for how much a particular company. It can be maintenance of an equipment, it could be replacement of an equipment. There's no vendor that will give you the same cost for a particular product. It's not possible unless they've talked with themselves. There must be cost disparities among all this. So it is now left for you to define what you actually want. Keeping equipment maintenance record. Records are very valuable because you time when a particular equipment needs to be what? To be replaced. You time if a particular component is giving you so much headache, then you replace. There are some areas that you go to as an FM that every component have part numbers. Generator have part numbers. Lift equipment have part numbers. When a particular equipment goes bad, the manufacturer or your vendor will tell you, can you give us the part number of that equipment? Why part numbers are used is to push off for profit for the manufacturer. No company produces generator and keep them in stock in Europe. It is only in Nigeria, because we don't produce, we buy generator and keep them for about 2-3 years without being used. And we still sell them off at the time. The most efficient way is for you to have their part number. Once you order for a particular equipment and you tell them you need this part number, that part number carry information about that part. It can be manufactured, it can be produced, and they have the timing for that particular equipment to be produced. That's why when you order abroad, they will tell you this equipment can arrive in Nigeria through freight, that is using your airport to drive the supply, or your procurement to deliver. You might end up using 1 week to produce. When you are talking about a full equipment, sometimes it can take you 2-3 months to produce that equipment because the parts are ready, but what they need to do is to assemble that equipment and carry that equipment through quality control and quality what? Assurance. And they must pass all the tests before they push it to your country for delivery. Please take note of that. Acceptable standard industrial best practice. You must ensure that that equipment you are following or you are buying, the manual is following standard practice. And ensure you too, you are following standard practice when you are maintaining. Don't defy. That's why every equipment comes with maintenance. Maintenance is to show you direction of what you need to do to ensure that equipment is working on fine. Every generator manufacturer have one common process. You must replace filter. You must change their engine oil. You must replace, there's one other thing they change, I've forgotten the name, that you must replace. They don't keep them on site or be reused. Then at a particular point, the oil within your system must be drained. So those must be known. The scheduling equipment replacement at the end of its useful life. I've talked about this. Your record can push for this. Maintenance inventories, reliable component, critical component, then component schedules for replacement. Sorry. Analyzing the equipment requirement, the specification of the equipment. So when you want to buy a product, you need to get a specification for the equipment. You might say that, why does that matter? It matters a lot. There are equipment you buy that can work more efficiently on land. If you are working in a ship, you travel a lot and you happen to be an FM for the team that are going and coming, or you are working offshore. The equipment installed there, they are resistant to the harsh environment they are exposed to. So you can't carry a residential equipment and carry it to such place because the equipment will fail within 3 or 6 months. So you must know specification of the equipment, the condition around before you purchase. Sometimes you must know the warranty condition also before you buy. There are some equipment that will tell you they have 2 years warranty. Some full assurance will give you 1 year. Some, because they are not too sure of their product, the warranty is called to 6. Some are even 3 months. After the expiration of that 3 months, you cannot claim warranty on those products. What are the advantages? Advantage: reduce the risk of unscheduled equipment failure, optimum performance of the equipment. This advantage if you adopt it. Reduce equipment downtime, fewer repairs emergencies, lower unplanned equipment downtime, extend equipment useful life, keep equipment in good working condition, keep equipment safe, improvement in system reliability, decrease in cost of part replacement, better inventory management of the part spare or spare part. Cost saving of about 12% to 80% compared to reactive. So if you adopt this, your cost, annual cost for those that monitor their budget, you'll be surprised you will make a lot of saving for your company for that year because you have adopted this strategy. Like I said, it is time-based, as in you schedule interval monthly or quarterly, biannual or annually. So look for what works for your site. Then disadvantages: higher demand of resources. Because you are doing a schedule for that equipment, despite they are not giving sign of fault or giving sign they will fail, you must still buy the things you need to use for your servicing. That's why in the long run, they might be expensive. High maintenance cost. The maintenance cost is also high because you are following schedule, like I've also mentioned. No consideration given to technical condition. There are no areas, critical areas that condition is given to. The manual said that we should maintain 3 months. We are maintaining 3 months. There are some critical equipment you are not paying attention to. Replacement of parts that are still functioning. You replace parts, you don't even see whether this thing can be repaired. Can it be reused? You are not even considering because the manual said replace every 3 months, you just replace. It happens more in generators. When they say the generator have run for 200 or 250 hours, replace the oil. And you discover that the oil is in good condition. Because they say replace, you do what? You replace. So that will cost you a lot of money in the long run. Maintenance activities are not prioritized. This is one of the disadvantages. So there are sometimes you need to shut down and do a general overhaul of your equipment because it's not part of your plan, and because you feel that you are doing regular interval, you don't need to totally do a shutdown and check all your equipment. Equipment still fail after maintenance. Sometimes when you maintain, because you are not paying attention to some critical component, there's bound to be noticeable failure, but better than what? Reactive. Unnecessary maintenance. Sometimes when you finish maintaining, you discover that something has gone wrong because there's a particular mechanical equipment or tools or part that is actually leading to this equipment. Your filters, you're giving way or seeing your filter cutting into two. There's something leading to it, but because you feel it is due, you maintain. So in the long run, it costs you a lot of money, costs you a lot of resources. Then we have what they call the predictive type. Under the predictive maintenance, what do we do? Same as condition monitoring. This one, you are monitoring every component, because what this does for you is that you collect data. That data are fed into your system or into a provided gadget. That gadget plot a particular graph or plot a pattern. That pattern, if it is normal from the manual, from the manufacturer manual, you see that this pattern, this thing is given is normal. There's no need to maintain. You might be surprised if you use this process for your AC maintenance. So sometimes your AC might not actually be maintained every 3 months. It could actually be every 6 months. The person using the AC does not own the AC all through. Because of the nature of their health, of their body, they put their AC off all the time. So predictive will be able to identify that and save you costs in the long run. Data-driven, suited for critical and complex equipment. You just bought one equipment for $1 million. You might not want to be using that approach of reactive. If the thing break down at that time, we go fix them. Or every 3 months, we fix them. This big equipment, you need to get data to check how the rotor is moving, to check the voltage within the system. You must check all those things before you put this equipment on. Performing maintenance on basis of predictive defect. It is only when you see a deviation from the data you have put together, you do your maintenance. Static and specific point in time. There is a particular component you'll be able to detect that this is what is causing the problem. You don't need to pay attention to other components. That particular part is what you are going for. Allow comparison with established and standard of measurement. There are some, they will tell you AC by ASHRAE should be between 22 and 24. But this AC, since you bought it, he has not even given you 25. The AC is always hot. When the weather is hot outside, it gives you hot inside. When the AC is outside is cool, it gives you. So what is the essence of using the AC? Can't you open your window? You understand? So this particular method gives you precisely what you need to do about your equipment. Then you measure those equipment against known standard. Identify imminent failure prior to becoming critical. So when the deviation is showing sign, it has not shown a clear deviation, you do your maintenance and keep that data moving in the normal route. Interpret indicators of equipment performance. There are some places you go to, there are lights that show sign that this thing has fault. Like the car I told you about. When your car is overheating, there's something that blinks on your dashboard, giving you a sign. Sometimes sensors are used to push this. You put them in critical equipment. There are some buildings you go to, they have what they call building management system. When a particular equipment shut down, they see it on the laptop. They see it on their system. They know exactly what they need to do. What makes that possible is the sensors communicating and bringing it out, the result out in a digital form that you can see through your graphics interface. You understand? That gives you a better view of what you need to do. Then don't forget, okay, deal with equipment degradation. If the equipment efficiency is reducing, this occurs mainly in manufacturing sector. You see that a particular machine can produce over 1,000 in 1 minute, 1,000 products in 1 minute. Because of age or a part that has shifted or moved, you see that same equipment is producing 600 in 1 minute. Then you know that there's something wrong. You need attention. Maintenance is not carried out based on predetermined dates, but based on actual condition of the equipment. That is the key point you need to know. This implies that maintenance is performed at an ideal time and resources are not wasted on unnecessary work. Convenient scheduling of the maintenance activities is made possible by predictive what? Maintenance. So in manufacturing sector, they always have systems that checkmate this through sensors and the rest. And they have somebody that is seated on the system that tell them any deviation. Because in some factories, once example of a factory that produces water, bottled water, the bottled water is supposed to be about 1 liter. You now discover some bottle are 1 liter, some are 0.5 liters. The equipment started malfunctioning. You cannot sell that 1.5 meter. Those ones will go to waste. And anything going to waste is affecting the profits of your company. That is for a factory. But for a building, it could be your customer complaining about poor service. It could be your staff or your customer coming into the building complaining about noise from that particular equipment or something. Something could be used to determine that. But because you have data collected every morning, fed into a system, then you can actually predict what will happen in the end. Type of predictive maintenance. What do we use to gauge predictive maintenance? Because for you to know that the oil within a generator has lost its viscosity. Viscosity is how thick a fluid is. You know, water flows easily. If you pour groundnut oil on the floor, it doesn't flow exactly like water. So that thickness of that fluid is what they call viscosity. So when you put oil in your generator in any moving equipment, over time, it loses that viscosity. That's why during maintenance, those things need to be replaced. Because if the viscosity is too low, what happens? Mechanical component, two iron will rub themselves, there will be noise. Just your car, you have not serviced your car for a long time. What happened in the end? You start hearing some funny noise from your engine. Your engine can actually knock when they see that there's no oil in. Your radiator too, if there's no water, what happens? It can lead to overheating and it can lead to cause of fire. And your car can go in that process. So those sensor setup gives us an idea of what is wrong. You get my point? So you need to ensure that sensors are well maintained and well positioned to give you direction of what is happening. Sometimes you need to measure like our multimeter. Because voltage, when you see an electric cable flowing, you cannot know whether it has high voltage or low voltage, and you are forbidden to touch it. The only way you can know is to measure using what? Your protective equipment, your PPEs. Your guys must go to site and measure. Then sometimes you use video. I don't know if you know about BP oil spill in the US some years back. The oil spill beneath the sea. No human being can go there. They use robots with videos to be able to trace where the leakage was coming from. It was a robot that actually welded that thing in the water, and that oil spillage stopped. But the damage done to the environment is in billions of dollars. So those are issues that can happen on your side when you don't put the right thing in place. If your company now adopt that we want to use predictive maintenance, be ready to what? Spend money to buy equipment. Algorithm, those are probably data that you must feed into information and into your graph or your system to get it. These days, AI is taking over most of these things. As an FM, please do not shy away from AI. In fact, learn about AI, because in time to come, most of us will be unemployed. I heard recently that Chinese have opened an AI hospital somewhere in Japan. They've not test run it. You go there, it is a robot that will attend to you. You know, most of our phone, you communicate with your phone. There are some app on Google where you speak to them, they type what you are saying, and they can give you response back based on what you have said. A good example is our ChatGPT. When you request for something, it gives you directly. So please do not shy away from AI. It will make you more efficient as an FM. So acoustical analysis. There are some equipment, when they are failing, they start giving sound. So when you measure that sound, it gives you ideas of what is happening. Sonic monitoring. There are some equipment that work beyond the speed of sound. When you hear sonic, it has also to do with sound, moving of hair. So you can actually measure through some gadgets, and it will give you a sign that this equipment will still fail. Infrared monitoring. Infrared monitoring is just like a display screen. You can watch it on YouTube. So what does it do? In your electrical panel, sometimes you see that some areas are heated while some areas are cooling down. Through this equipment, you can actually measure. Once you on that infrared, it shows you areas that are stressed. Those areas that are stressed, if care is not taken, there's every possibility there could be fire issue from your panel soon. So once you notice that, your electrical engineer actually knows what he needs to do to solve that problem. Vibration analysis. There are some equipment that vibrate while they are working. When you talk about thermography, some equipment, their temperature actually show that they are malfunctioning. Then we talk about viscosity. I mentioned that, how thick your fluid is. So if your fluid is thick initially, over time of usage, and the viscosity loses strength and it flows exactly like water, it will not serve the purpose to which it was designed for. You need to do what? To replace. Sensor, meters, videos, algorithm, acoustic analysis, sonic monitoring, infrared, all these things are things you need to adopt what? A predictive maintenance. Not all the time does predictive work on smaller building, because cost for buying all this equipment are actually very high. Very, very high. Some of them run into millions. Just one equipment, and they need to be well taken care of. But if you are working multinational, before you say gyropizin, they are the one that will buy those equipment for you. There's a particular gadget they use once. They use it to detect gas in air, because it is being carried about with people that actually explore oil from the soil, from the earth. If the gas are much in air, any strike of two iron can actually ignite fire. So those equipment give them signal to move out of the area before there's an accident. So that particular equipment are very expensive. Some of them run into 10 to 20 million for just one piece of equipment. So if you want to say you want to use that in your building, you know you are running your building down. So most FM I've seen, they adopt the what? The planned preventive maintenance. But if you have the luxury, you can use a little of the predictive what? Maintenance, putting into consideration all these things I have what? Mentioned. Why use predictive maintenance? Why do we need to use it? Allow planning and scheduling of corrective maintenance. Prevent unplanned failure of the equipment. Reduce purchase of spare parts. Because there's a deviation, it reduces you stocking too much thing. You reuse that equipment before that particular part totally fails. You can repair some equipment or some parts. It reduces the maintenance cost, because once you notice that this equipment is deviating and you're able to notice on time and fix it, it reduces the cost of replacement. Improve in maintenance planning. Increase system availability and reliability. Maintenance is performed while equipment is in service. Eliminate or reduce service disruption. Allow for early what? Detection of problem. Because you have things to aid your decision, it gives you a better view of what you need to do. Take, for example, a doctor. If you go to an hospital, there's no way a doctor can look at your face or look at you and tell you that your temperature is 34 or 36. It needs a device. If you want to check your heartbeat, it has a device. If they want to take your blood sample and see what is wrong in your system, you need a device. So your predictive maintenance strategy uses the same format as this doctor, but the tools are now different. So it aids you in taking better decisions. Because if you can effectively take that decision, you save your company the cost of buying, replacing a particular equipment. Maintenance is performed when it is necessary or needed, which is in contrast with preventive maintenance when equipment is maintained, whether it is needed or not needed. Predictive maintenance can actually be done once in a year, even if the equipment is running continuously. Predictive maintenance can be done once in a month, can be done every quarter. So what determines what you will do is the data that you have input that shows you what directions. Advantages: fewer breakdown, reduce equipment downtime, increase in production, increase component operational life of availability. The equipment is readily available. Allow for preemptive corrective action. Decrease in cost for part and labor. Better product quality. Improve workers and environmental safety. Because you know what can happen and what can go wrong by the data you are fed in, there's no need for you to be running helter-skelter to fix an equipment that just broke down. What are the disadvantages? High initial cost, because bringing equipment in, training your staff, bringing an outsource company that knows about the equipment will initially be at a very high cost. Saving potential is not readily seen because return on investment on this equipment can actually take beyond 5 years. Sorry. Sorry. Increase. I just wanted to move this. Let me see if I can move it. Oh, I cannot move this. Can I? Okay, I can. Increase investment in diagnostic equipment. Diagnostic equipment like your sensor, like your multimeters and the rest, some of them are very expensive. Very, very expensive in the market. So the other type of maintenance you need to consider is the reliability type of maintenance. Reliability-centered maintenance is RCM. Is the combination of any of these together to ensure your site is running well. So when we talk about reliable-centered maintenance, you are talking about combination of more than one maintenance strategy. There are no sites that 100% use one particular strategy. We actually apply reactive, predictive at some points. Then sometimes we combine all. What is our aim? Our site should not break down. Our equipment should run smoothly. Determine a system maintenance requirement. You must know the requirement of your system. Your generator 200 hours, your AC quarterly maintenance, your lift every month, your water treatment system daily checks and periodic maintenance and replacement of the filter media and all the component that needs to be replaced. Your chemicals must be done when you see that they are depleting. Then optimization of a system maintainability. You optimize that equipment being able to be maintained. Consider system component condition and its impact on systems world performance. Determine the most effective maintenance strategy. So you must sit down with your team, sit down with your management, and determine which one works for you. Maintenance activities are characterized by use of maintenance life cycle view. There are some equipment that have a life cycle. That life cycle give you when equipment is bought, the efficiency increases at the time of purchase, or you work exactly as the manufacturer have described in the manual. But over time and over years, it depreciates in value. But because you have a life cycle readily for this equipment, you can determine when that equipment can be disposed. You determine when the equipment can be resold. That gives you an idea, because when it gets a particular value, you know that maintaining this equipment will be a sheer waste of resources. You need to replace it. Continuous process improvement. This reliability also ensure that there's a continual process in place to ensure that your equipment does not break down. Periodic evaluation of the maintenance activities must be done. Use of root cause analysis, what led to it. You must investigate either your in-house and generate a report, or your vendor. Communication of changes in the maintenance procedure. Those must be effectively communicated. When you are changing strategy on the maintenance, when you identify that this is not working, you need to call for a meeting with all your team. Explain why you need to change. Explain to your customer too, or your client, why you need to change, or you want to move from one maintenance strategy to the other. You need to explain to them, because some of your explanation could actually require funding. So they are the one, your stakeholders might be the one to fund it, but you need to carry them along. If not, you have issues on site. The basic philosophy of RCM is that decision on maintenance activities should be based on the system maintenance requirement, supported by economic and technical premise. So you can take that home. You can decide to adopt this for your site. Reliability-centered maintenance framework that enable the definition of a complex maintenance regime. It ensures that the assets continue to do what their user require in their present operating context. Don't forget, as I've defined asset in the past, asset is something that gives you value, something that you can use to generate revenue. It could be your car, it could be Okada, it could be keke that you see on the road. Anything that generates revenue is asset. Then when it comes to your building, your lift, your AC, your swimming pool system, your water treatment system, the quality of services you give, those are things that actually determine your assets. The building is something that can generate revenue. There are some people that come into your building, if they see the color of your swimming pool, they will not do business with you, or they will not come into the building. Systematic approach to evaluates a facility equipment and resources to best meet the two and result in a high degree of facility reliability and cause what? Effectiveness. So what they are saying that you might combine the two together and see which one work. You cannot totally remove one, but in combination can ensure a particular thing is well maintained and used for its purpose. Closely match resources to need while improving reliability and decreasing cost. The purpose of combination is to increase the reliability of that particular equipment, thereby decreasing in cost that you will have spent if you have not adopted the system. Highly reliant on predictive maintenance, but also recognize that maintenance activities on equipment that is inexpensive and unimportant to facility reliability may best be left to a reactive. I have told you there's no way you can totally eliminate reactive on our site. You cannot totally eliminate. I give you an example. We have a serious thunderstorm and a roof blows out, the storm blows out one or two roofs from your site. How do you classify that? Anything you are doing at that particular point is called reactive. In order to solve that problem, if you have funds, such materials of that particular quantity can actually be kept on site. If you are part of the team that are producing or making purchase of equipment to be used in building, you can buy 5% in excess of those equipment, so that at the expiration of that contract, those ones that are 5% in excess or 10% in excess can actually be kept in your store to be reused later. I give you an example. There are some luxurious buildings in Lagos that the tile they use for the building are actually imported. So if you have some damages on your site, what happened in the long run? You need to go to somewhere in US or China to go and import just a piece of gravel or tiles. So if you have adopted this method, I said keeping 5% or 10%, don't discard anything that you know can be reused. Keep them in stock, no matter how long it will be. Because if the particular tile fall off from the wall or is broken, if you cannot get a sample of that in the market, any kind of tile you put there will deface that particular environment, and you have brought the value of that particular place down. Because any person that wants to rent the place will say, how come we are having this kind of tile different from others? And the only way sometimes to correct it is to remove all the existing tile and install another one. You can see locally. Highly reliant on okay, we've talked about this. Reliable center maintenance hierarchy. See, we have corrective element applications, small parts and equipment, not critical to equipment unlikely to fail, then redundancy, system. Then we talked about preventive maintenance. This is the comparison of all the three maintenance. Then reliability, it seems to be the organ of them all. Then you have the equipment subject to wears. Consumable equipment with known failure pattern, manufacturer recommendation. Then when we talk about predictive element application, you talk about equipment with random failure pattern, because you are combining the two. You use all the method. Critical to equipment. If you buy equipment running into large volumes of money, you must adopt reliability. Then equipment not subject to wears, you must adopt this. System which with failure may be induced by incorrect preventive maintenance. So this particular pattern, take the advantages of this, take the disadvantage of preventive, make it its own advantage. That is the difference in all. There are some disadvantages in corrective maintenance that predictive are taken care of. And there are disadvantages in preventive maintenance that your predictive maintenance are taken care of. Why combination of all those things, the liability maintenance are cover them all. Reliability center maintenance, what do we look at? What are the advantages? Cost of maintenance is reduced. Reliability and efficiency is guaranteed. Improve safety performance of this equipment. Eliminate unnecessary maintenance because you are combining all. Minimize frequency of overhaul. It minimizes. There are some factories that will tell you they want to overhaul. Total shutdown. Reduce probability of sudden failure. You will detect where there are problems. Incorporate root cause analysis, because you carry out a thorough investigation to see what have led to this failure. You are able to put corrective measure in place to further reduce it. Reliability gives you that advantage. Knowledge of the equipment condition. Because you have knowledge of the equipment condition, you in a particular equipment, you know which one are reactive. You know the one that are preventive within the same equipment, and you know the one that are predictive. Data is vital for asset management. So any data you collect, aid reliability. Focus on critical system components. Increase equipment availability on site. Okay, I think we are done with it. I will just give you a summary. Then you can start dropping your question. I will answer. Then I expect people to be raising their hand. So in summary, what we are talking about, once they give you a site to handle as an FM, you must look at the strategy that works for you. Are you outsourcing? Are you going to use an in-house? And if you must use an in-house, who are you bringing on board? How do you recruit? Are you going to outsource to people to recruit for you, or you do the recruitment with a recognized person if you invite the person in on board? You understand? Then, do you have procurement company process in place? Sorry. Do you have procurement department? And do you have a process in place? Then what kind of payment method do you adopt on your side? Do you do pay as you go, or you run through a procurement process? Why you use a 30 days payment terms, 60 days payment term, or 90 days as some cases may be. So those are the things that will form all your decisions to know which route that you need to go. So thank you very much. We have rounded up this class. So I expect people to raise hand and ask their questions. Time for question. You can unmute.
Sorry.
Please, you can for us to create effective way to answer the question, just signify by raising your hand. You can click the raise hand button. Then I will call your name in that order. I hope that is okay. There's a okay. Okay, go ahead. Since you are the one asking, please go ahead. Just tell us your name and what your question is.
Okay, good evening, sir. My name is Destiny
Good evening.
Manuel. Okay,
Destiny
so
Manuel, okay.
I'm a facility manager, but
Okay.
coming into the system, so I noticed in my estate that generator always always shut down. So I want to ask, is it that the capacity, the capacity of the estate is more than the generator, or what could be the issue in that case? So things like that have been happening, and residents have been complaining. Everything is the facility manager. What is going on? Why? Always and always, always and always. They don't want to know whether you're new in the system or whether you know something about it. All what they want
A
effectiveness,
solution.
that they pay for the service. Yes, they pay for the services. So please, I want to know,
Yes.
do you mean that the
Yeah.
capacity of the generator couldn't carry the AC? Thank you, sir.
Yeah. I don't know. Okay, let me answer the question as you asked. Presently, you need to carry out an audit of your building. How you need to do, if it is an estate, floor by floor, you need, if you have the as-built drawing, you can actually determine the load capacity, or you can read it from your meter on monthly basis. What is the load that you people pay for? You can derive it from your PACN. At maximum load, when people are at home, what is the demand for current in the building? Then you can use that to quantify the size and capacity of your generator. Or you can also call an experienced electrical person to come to your building to help you size the generator. Then what can also cause it also, the quality of diesel, you need to check. Then you could also check the age of your generator, because over time, when generator has passed their lifespan, their efficiency drops. You understand? So those three things must be done. You need to do an audit. Since I am not in your estate, you need to give me more information to tell you this is what is happening. And as you are doing it, carry all the estate member along. Send a mail to them that you want to carry out an audit of the estate. Estate is that you want to know the power capacity, the amperage that each building, each flat is consuming while the generator is functioning. Then you need to know that of the PACN. So you can do your comparison. A company can give you a good report. There's a company that can come there, give you a good report, and give recommendation whether the generator need to be sold and a new one purchased, or you need to replace some critical parts that are not working well, or it could be the diesel quality being supplied. Then I want to ask, do you check the density of your diesel when they are supplied? Hello, Emmanuel. Destiny Emmanuel. You can
Yes, sir.
unmute,
Yes,
please.
sir. Yes. Okay.
Do you check the density of your diesel when you buy? Because the density must be from 0.8 and above. Anything lower would also be a problem. Then make sure you buy from a reliable source. There are some people that sell bunked oil or diesel. They will tap into some pipeline and buy sharply. They are not well refined. And if you get into your system, it becomes a problem. I don't know if you remember, there was a time, I don't know if it is Good Luck time or Buhari time, that they sold fake fuel to people. When people placed that fuel in their car started having issues. I don't know if you will remember that time.
Yes, yes.
So if you remember, the quality of what you are feeding into your generator could also be a problem. So I've given you root cause of what could be the problem. Then I think there's one of our facilitator that is Abel Inyore. He will give you a better understanding of what you need. He will break down the generator for you. You could also invite him to site. He can help you to do a check on that, and it gives you what you need to do. Please, my brother, don't accept any kind of pressure coming from people after your report is out. Tell them it's the equipment giving them problem. Do a business case after your report have been generated. Let them know you are trying your best to manage the generator in a diplomatic way. Don't be abusive and don't be insultive. Be diplomatic when you are doing your business case. Once they generate the report, push it to them that this is the recommendation from the vendor you brought in to check the condition of the generator, and these are the possible solutions. Then how many generators do you have on site? Is it 1 or 2 or 3?
It's 2.
2. So if
we
it
have
is 2, so okay, go ahead.
We have the big generator and the small generator. So it's the small generator that always shuts down. But the big generator, I don't even know whether the person
if it is the
maintaining
small generator, from what you are saying, if it is the small generator shutting down, it could be capacity issue. If the big one is working and there's no issue, then it could be capacity issue. Don't forget, if it is resident, is it a residential area or office space?
Yes, it's a residential area.
If it is residential, don't forget, it's an essay. If it is residential, don't forget, most of them on their ACs are in the evening when they come. And AC demand for large currents, amperage, while in operation. So it could also be a problem. You know, every AC have a high starting current before it will now flow down to its own normal voltage when it start working. Just imagine all of them on it at once. It could also kill your generator. It could make your generator to fail permanently. So the solution, let somebody visit your site and be able to carry that out. I have somebody raising his hand before, so I don't know. Destiny, I believe I've answered you. Is it Akin Yemi?
Thank you.
That was raising his hand, or Adeola Oladejo? Akin Yemi, yeah. I didn't know question to be asked in the class. We all understood the question and the class. Hello? Hello?
Hi.
Hi, we can hear you.
I believe everybody understood the class very well. You are making me afraid. It's as if you didn't understand. You need to ask question, please.
We understood the class.
And we enjoyed
okay, so
that's very clear.
Okay, it was very clear. Okay, thank you.
Yes,
okay, there's Adeola is raising. Adeola, I don't know if it's a female or a male. Adeola hands is up. You can go ahead, Adeola. Unmute yourself.
Okay,
good evening,
sir.
Good evening, Adeola.
Sir, well done, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I want to ask you from what you answer Emmanuel now that you can check the quality of it. How can that be done? Is there a tool for it or
yes, there's an equipment called hygrometer. So when you go to the market, you buy. So you put a sample of your diesel in it and drop that measuring device there. That measuring device will push that device up to 0.8, the density. You know, when you throw, sorry, I'm going to a little bit into science. You know, when you throw a stone into water, what happens? The stone goes down to the depth of the sea, right? Meaning that stone is denser than water. That's why it can go down. But when you put a bottle of water covered and throw it inside water, what happens? It floats on water. So they use that mechanism to design that hygrometer to measure the density value. So at that particular point, density will give you 0.8. Anything lower give you something less. So what can also happen is that the diesel can also burn faster. Some of them have debt. They sold them with debt. You understand? Hello? Deola, I hope I've answered your question.
Yes, I get your point, sir. I get your point, sir.
So that is the only way. Then if you don't want to use all those tools, you can outsource to a reliable company, ensuring that the quality of their diesel meet up to normal standard or your company standard, that if anything go wrong in your generator, they will be liable to replace the entire generator. You can write your contract to them in that format. And one other thing you can also do with maintenance, ensure all your vendors have a written agreement, contract, specifying every task that they are doing. Then have a checklist from them for your technician to check every day what they need to check. Then when repair comes, they need to know what to do. Because if there are dispute tomorrow, that contract will be your saving grace. And one other clue, I've said, do not mix maintenance components with repairs. When you are preparing your maintenance budget, always put repairs as optional. Because if you go and quote for a generator part at about, for example, 100,000, you know, Nigeria is an hyper-inflated market. Our components are actually determined by forces of dollar. That 100,000 can actually hit 500,000 later. That one single component can eat up half of your budget. So what I do on my side is to ensure we give only quotation for maintenance. Then repair is subject to present quote and client what approval. Once your vendor start, Oga, the cost to fix the compressor is about 250,000. Do your quotation, send to your client and tell them this is not part of our budget, but we are willing to help you, but this is the cost. Once you see, please proceed with the repair, that means he wants to pay. Let it not be verbal. It must be through email. A productive facility manager does not talk with mouth. You must send email, must know how to do business case. You understand? If you don't know, you can reach out to me. I can help out to tell you all the things you need to know in writing a business case. Then we can end it from there. If there are no questions, I think I will call it a day. Miracle, I believe I'm done with the class. And thank you for all of you listening. We shall see probably next time. Thank you very much,
Thank you very much, sir, for this class.
Okay.
All right, thank you, sir.
Take care.
All right, thank you,
I
everyone.
Thank you very
appreciate
much, sir.
Bye.
Have a nice day.
Bye, sir.
Okay, bye.